So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. Y'all know how I love to sip my water. Sipping my ice water on a nice hot southern day. There is nothing like cold water that's already cold with ice cubes in it. Ooh, it just makes you feel so refreshed. Anyway, let's have a little chat, shall we? Today is a very sad day for me and for a lot of people. And it's more so sad because it's a reminder that a lot of the icons and people that we enjoyed and we enjoyed their talent, they're leaving this world. In the past week, we've lost Shelley Duvall, who played in The Shining. I know a lot of people don't know who Shelley Duvall is, but I do. She played in The Shining. We lost Dr. Ruth. We lost um, Richard Simmons. And the one that really gets me, we lost Shannen Doherty. I swear that one hurts. That one hurts because I really liked her talent. I know a lot of people had a lot of issues with Shannen Doherty, but she was my favorite on Charmed, and the show was never really the same after Shannen left. I mean, it did continue for 5 seasons after she left. But for me, it just was never the same, and these losses of these great people, I mean, it's hard. But on some good news, I moved into another apartment in the same building. I'm just on a different floor now. And so far, I mean, there are some things that are annoying that I won't mention, but for the most part, it is very peaceful and it is very quiet because there's nobody on the other side of me where my bedroom is. Whoever lives over top of me, they are very, very quiet. They are very, very quiet. I don't even hear any footsteps. I don't hear any people hollering and screaming up and down the hall. Of course, I hear people up and down the hall, but for the most part, people mind their business on this floor. The floor that I was on before, people had a hard time with minding their business. They were up and down the hallway. I was by the stair. I was right by the stairwell at that time, and people were in and out of the stairwell, slamming the door. And I'm right by the elevator, so that's very convenient for me. So when I get off the elevator, my apartment is right there. So that's very convenient. I like this floor. It's quiet. It is so quiet and peaceful, and that's what I love. It is quiet and peaceful. But anyway, the apartment under me is vacant, so nobody's under me yet. Let's hope my peace of mind lasts. I swear. Anyway, but today has been a day. Today has been a day. You know, um, so rest in peace to Shannen Doherty, Shelley Duvall, Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth. Thank you for your contributions to the entertainment industry. Thank you for bringing your talent into the world. Thank you for sharing your talent with the world. Thank you for just entertaining us, you know, and helping this dark, dark world to be a little bit lighter, despite whatever personal issues they may have had, they did bring light into the world. And I know people are going to say, well, they did this, they did that. Well, Richard Simmons, as far as I know, was always trying to uplift people. He was always uplifting people. He was always trying to make people feel better. And there's a lack of that in the world today. It really is. I'm not even going to speak on what happened to Trump. I don't even want to speak on that. That was too surreal. That was too surreal. Too surreal. And, even though I'm not a Trump fan, I don't wish, anyone to be attacked in that way. Not even him, you know. But I just want to talk about some things, just backpedaling, not backpedaling, but I can't think of the word. Piggybacking off of that. So I'm in the process of watching I can't I could not finish the whole movie. Not yet. But I mean some ice, excuse me. Mm. That Tyler Perry movie, Divorce in the Black. I'm watching that now on Amazon Prime. And I'm at the scene where the angry husband comes into the bank. And that's all I'm going to say. But here's my issue. Why are black people mad about this Tyler Perry movie? And I know I've been critical of Tyler Perry in the past. And some things I stand on. But some things I want to take another look at. Because I know Tyler Perry has not been the greatest, according to a lot of people, allegedly. And that's fine. That's okay. That's what it is. I'm not disputing that. It's not fine that he's not been a good person, but I'm not disputing what people's issues are with him. I'm not disputing that. But what I want to talk about is this movie, Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. A lot of black people are angry about the movie, saying that it depicts a lot of stereotypical ideologies as it represents in representation of black people. And my whole thing about it is this. Is he lying? Is he lying? Is it a lie? Do you know how many black women that I know who have boyfriends and husbands that are just like that husband in this movie, Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black? Do you know how many black men and women that I know that have mothers that are like that mother in Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black, including my grandmother on my father's side? She was just like the mother. From what I understand, I didn't know her, but she was just like the mother in this movie. Yeah, I'm not gonna be no hypocrite. I'm gonna tell the truth, but I have grace. So that's why I was covered from all that. But that's another story. Mm, I love some ice in the summertime. But is Tyler Perry lying? He talks about it. He's very candid about his upbringing and how abusive his father was to him. He's telling you a story and of different intricate, I guess you not intricate, but different parts and aspects of his own trauma. He's an artist and he's transmuted it. And now the black community is saying, well, why is he this movie is stereotypical? No, it's not. There's a lot of truth in that movie, from what I'm saying. Like I said earlier, do you know how many black women I know who've experienced that dealing with men like that? Do you know how many men like that I've run across in my life who are crazy, psychotic, sociopathic, insecure, and they take all of that and they ball it up into a ball of magnetic chaos, and they pull people in to their orbit of chaos and havoc. Megan Good's character, she was a good wife. She cooked for him. She was the one that I'm assuming that was making the money. He was just a nasty, hateful, drunk person. Spoiler alert. He was just nasty. Why is it wrong for art to imitate life? Because that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing art imitate life. Why is that wrong? Again, let me say it again. Do you know how many men I know who are like that? Even men in my family. And when I look at that movie, it really makes me realize something. And it even makes me think about Shannen Doherty's husband. When I look at that movie, the Tyler Perry movie I'm referencing, it makes me think about masculine energy and masculinity. And how, I'm sorry, I'm eating some ice. And how we have a misconstrued ideology about masculine energy and masculinity. And we are being fed from people like Andrew Tate, his brother Tristan Tate, and other, men who are really not representations of masculinity. They're false representations of that energy. We have really been bamboozled in understanding what masculine energy is and how it's represented and how it flows through men. As I just stated, we get these misconstrued misinformation from people like Andrew Tate, the Manosphere, Tristan Tate, and others, and they tell us what masculinity is. And when I look at this movie, it makes me realize we really don't know and understand true or pure masculinity. Because what spirit tells me is that true and pure masculinity is not about aggression. It's not about bullying. It's not about how big your testicles are or how big your penis is. And I'm not talking in terms of sex, I'm talking in terms of competition. It's not about who has the biggest balls on the stage. It's not about that. Masculinity is about being smart, about using your brain, And sometimes when you open your mouth, you let people know you're a fool and they lose all doubt. My grandmother used to say that on my mother's side, the grandmother that I knew and loved. She used to always say, nobody knows you're a fool until you open your mouth and remove all doubt. My grandmother used to say that. And we have a bunch of people, a bunch of men in social media, so-called social media influencers, who are telling people what masculinity is. And their jaded view of masculinity has caused a reverberation across the realms. But it even goes back to colonial times, especially for black people. Because what we know as masculinity now, the foundation that is built on, it's built on abuse, it's built on brutality, it's built on violation, it's built on bullying, it's built on harassment. But it's not built on masculinity. It's not even built on femininity. It's built on effeminate energy. Effeminate energy is a mutation that derives from trauma and abuse, and it's generational. It's an entity. It's a curse. So my question again is, why are black people mad at Tyler Perry about this movie? Because he's exposing the cancer in the black community. This is his artwork. This is what he does. I'm not in agreement with everything that Tyler Perry says and does. If some of the allegations about him are true, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about him presenting a story that every woman just about in the black community can relate to. I am talking about him presenting a story about toxicity. I'm not going to call it toxic masculinity. I'm not going to say that because it's not masculine energy. That's why when Roseanne made that comment that toxic masculinity should come back, what are you talking about? It never left. It's that's what we've been dealing with. But it's not masculinity. It's just toxic. It's toxic, effeminate energy that derives from trauma and abuse and insecurity and instability in some of these men. And it doesn't matter what their race is. Anytime you have a man like Andrew Tate that said he would rather put a bullet in a woman's head than have her come between him and his brother. Now think about that. I get it. You don't want anybody to come between, you don't want anyone to come between you and your brother. I get that. But listen to what he says out of his mouth. That's just like Shannen Doherty's husband. Another prime example of effeminate trauma-based energy. Shannen Doherty was divorcing her husband before she passed away. And she even said that her husband was such a vulture. He was waiting for her to die. Her words, he was waiting for her to die so he would not have to pay her any type of support. I'm assuming alimony or whatever. Maybe it wasn't alimony, but some type of support because she needed money for her cancer treatments and everything. and just to live to make her life easier because of what she was going through. He was cheating on her allegedly, while she was suffering with cancer. That's why she divorced him. And then he started being a snake, like a lot of men are. And you're telling me that that's normal? But we've normalized that. Society has normalized that type of behavior. And they call it, oh, that's just being a man. No, it's not. It's called being a snake. It's called being an asshole. So the question remains, why is the black community mad at Tyler Perry? There are men who are just like this man in this movie. We run across them every day. From from overt to covert. So why are we mad? You know why we're mad? Because it's the truth. And people want to sweep it under the carpet and say, oh, it's a stereotype. That ain't no fucking stereotype. There are men who are evil and disgusting, just like that man in that movie that plays the husband. It's art imitating life and life imitating art. It happens. So why are we mad? And why do we keep accepting this type of energy into our community? This is not even feminine energy. This is effeminate energy, and effeminate energy is toxic. It's a universal toxic energy, and it is almost like an entity that is created to destroy or to cause an imbalance with feminine energy and masculine energy. Masculine energy is not bullying. It is not hateful. It is not narcissistic. I have been around real masculine energy, okay? And I felt safe. I felt safe because that masculine energy that I was around, I'm not talking about the person that I'm currently with. No, not him. I'm not talking about him, but I felt safe with that person that I'm thinking about in my mind. I felt safe. It was warm. It wasn't judgmental. It was warm. It was caring. It was protective. And that masculine energy told me, I got your back. You always got a friend in me. That's what that masculine energy told me. And that was my friend Christopher. I'm going to go ahead and say it. That was my friend Chris. That is why I revere him so much in my heart and in my mind. I don't even have to have an altar for him anymore because he's in my heart. He's in my soul. He's in my mind. And that was the purest form of masculine energy that I've ever felt. That was the only man in my life that let me know that I deserved respect, that I deserved love. That's what masculine energy is supposed to do for you, no matter what sexual orientation you are. But we've been told by Hollywood and social media that we should become accustomed to disrespect, narcissism, aloofness, betrayal, hurt, pain, violations. This is everything that they have attached to masculine energy, And that's not masculine energy. I felt masculine energy. I know what it feels like to have a masculine energy that's protecting you and vibing with you and balancing off of you. I know what that feels like. It is one of the most wonderful feelings in the world. And I am so grateful and gracious that I was able to experience that. That's how I know what the rest of these motherfuckers are talking about is bullshit. I don't care what you got in your bank account. I don't care how much of an influencer you are. You cannot pretend to embody real masculine energy. Masculine energy don't follow nothing. Masculine energy does not follow anything. Masculine energy is a leader in and of itself. And when combined with feminine energy, it creates something beautiful. But now you have a bunch of men who basically hates anything of a natural feminine nature. They prefer effeminate energy because that's the vibration and frequency that they're vibrating on. That's why so many of them get together with each other, these men. I'm not talking about sexually, but that's why they get together with each other, because that's the vibration that they flow on. Effeminate energy. That is why they're so bitchy. That is why they're so irritable. Along with smoking all that fake ass marijuana, but that's another story, child. But anyway, that's why they are the way that they are. That's why they are so aggressive and nasty and hateful towards women. Because they are vibrating on the effeminate energy. And I've talked about this before. But we live in a world where masculine energy is being mistaken for this shit right here. When masculine energy recognizes feminine energy, doesn't matter who you are. When masculine energy recognizes feminine energy coming from you, that masculine energy is going to, when it's real masculine energy, we're not talking about effeminate energy. And let's be real. Let me talk to my gay brethren for a minute. Let's be real, y'all. To the gay men out there, let's be real. Most of these niggas that we think are masculine, they're effeminate. That's why we end up not even getting along with a lot of them, because they're effeminate. A lot of gay men, we're looking for masculine men. We're looking for masculinity, right? We're looking to feel that masculine, protective, warm energy. We're looking to feel that. And then the men that are that we run into a lot of times, a lot of them are confused and conflicted, and they are operating off of their trauma. They are trauma based. They're effeminate, pretending to be masculine. See, I can see all that now. See, I couldn't see it back then. And I was having a conversation with someone about this. This is probably why I'm really not attracted to a lot of black men anymore. And I'm just being honest. This is probably one of the reasons why. This is probably one of the reasons why I'm not attracted to a lot of men. I'm not men, I'm sorry. A lot of men anymore, period, in general. Yeah, that was right the first time, child. This is probably why, because when I look at men now, because I'm so spiritually in tune more than I used to be, I can see who they really are. That's just like that video of Chili, Joey Lawrence, Andrew Lawrence, and Matthew Lawrence dancing around, in a circle, you know, dancing around, shaking their butts and all that. Now I can see Chili doing that because she's a woman. But why would three men be shaking their butts like that? I don't even do nothing like that. Why would they be doing that? That is so effeminate. And then they didn't even have any rhythm when they were doing it. Now I know Latin men can shake their hips and stuff like that, but that's part of their culture. That's not what I'm talking about. When they do those Latin dances and stuff like that, that's different. But these are supposed to be three heterosexual men dancing like that, and nobody has any questions. Nobody has any questions about that. Chili, they up there sucking up all your energy and you letting them do it. They sucking up all her energy. But the thing is, it's not feminine energy when it comes out of them. It's not going to be feminine energy. It's going to turn, all of them are effeminate. Joey Lawrence, Matthew Lawrence, and the brother Andrew, that's all effeminate energy. And that's what Chili is with. That's an effeminate energy. And I can tell. But we have been mistaken, this type of energy right here, we have been mistaken. We've been mistakenly believing that that's masculine energy when it's not. That's not masculine energy. And like I was going back to what I was saying about gay men, we are always searching for masculine men, but we always end up running across effeminate men who are pretending to be masculine. Because masculine men are not going to force you to do something that you don't want to do. Do you know how many men I've met throughout my life that tried to force anal sex on me? Not to be gross, but they tried to force it on me. And I don't mean, let me clarify. I don't mean they tried to actually force it inside of me, but they tried to enforce that on me. I don't mean physically, but mentally they tried to enforce that on me. And if I'm not feeling you, I'm not feeling you. That's what effeminate men do. Masculine men, they seduce you, and they seduce you in the right way. You know it's right. Give me a second. You know that it's right. The feeling is right. You know what I'm saying? The feeling is right. My friend Chris, the feeling was right. It was such a warm, loving, caring, protective feeling, and our energies were bouncing off of each other. My feminine mixed with masculine, and his masculine energy was bouncing off of mine. It was just a beautiful feeling. I can't describe it. You know, when we were together, I mean, it was like we were in our own world. And he was a Gemini, and I normally don't get along with Geminis like that. But I got along with him. That's because he had constellations in Virgo. But masculine energy is not what people think. And I don't understand, once again, why black people are so mad about that movie. Because Tyler Perry is not telling no lies about these black men. He's not telling no lies about them. He's not. Out of my 45 years of life, I only met one black man who really treated me the way that I felt was comfortable for me. I mean, I've met some nice black guys and guys in general in my life, intimately, but Christopher was the one he was the one that really stuck out the most. And I don't think I'll ever find anybody like that again, because that was true masculine energy. And if you notice, they're trying to kill that energy off, just like they killed him off, allegedly. They're trying to kill that type of energy off. And they're replacing it with this effeminate energy and these effeminate entities like the Andrew Tates and Tristan Tates and the Manosphere and all those other weirdo motherfuckers. They're trying to replace real masculine energy with that. So, like I was saying, as gay men, we keep looking for masculine energy, but we keep running across these effeminate ass dudes who don't embody real masculine energy. That is why they're flaky. That is why they're crazy. That is why they're sociopathic, because they don't have the energy to balance them out. That is why they're so aloof, even in friendships. Do you know how many niggas I have been friendly with and then they flipped on me and turned on me for no reason, or they ghosted me and stopped speaking to me? I can think of one right now, and I don't give a fuck if he watching. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You know how many men I have been cool with, black men, and then they turn on me? That's not masculine energy. That is effeminate energy. Masculine energy don't betray people. Masculine energy does not betray feminine energy. Let me say that again. Masculine energy does not betray feminine energy. So, ladies, let me tell you something. If you're dealing with a dude and he's betraying you and taking you through the ringer and mistreating you, that's not masculine energy. You need to get away from that motherfucker as fast as you possibly can. Get the fuck away from him. It was the same thing with my grandmother. That motherfucking dude that she was married to, my step grandfather, he was effeminate. He raised his sons to be effeminate. He raised his sons to be reactors and not thinkers. That's why they turned out the way that they did. That's why his stepchildren turned out the way that they did. Because, the ones he raised. Because he wasn't a thinker. He was a predator. And there's a difference. Predatory behavior has become the definition or the embodiment of so-called masculine energy, or a false doctrine of masculine energy. And it's not. There are some masculine men out there who will fuck you up, and they don't have to yell. They don't have to scream. They don't have to do anything. It'll be with a smile, but they are thinkers. See, I wasn't raised around real masculine energy. I was not. And I can admit that with no shame. I have my own masculine energy because I'm made up of both. And that is why I'm so passionate about the work that I do. You know, regardless of who, mistreated me or, did me wrong or whatever, no matter what, I'm never going to stop doing this work. Because this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to speak about these things. So that's why, going back to what I said, why is the black community mad about this movie that Tyler Perry made, Divorce in Black? That motherfucker in that movie that plays the husband, I can't think of the actor's name, but that motherfucker, he's the archetype for a lot of these men and how they treat people. He's the archetype for it. So it's not a stereotype, it's an archetype. And he's telling a story about that archetype. And I'm not a Tyler Perry fan. So this is not coming from a biased place. This is coming from a non-biased place. And I understand Tyler Perry in some ways because he's a Virgo like me. And this is how we tell our stories. Excuse me. There's nothing wrong with that movie that he made. It's telling the truth about what women have, especially what black women have to go through sometimes with some of these rotten ass fucking men. Doesn't matter the race. It can be any race. But it just so happens this character or those characters are black. But like I said, we all know a lot of men who are like that. We know women who are going through that. My grandmother went through that. But the only thing with my grandmother was she was from an era where, the woman stayed at home and the husband was supposed to go out and work. And that's what she did. So she didn't have an escape. And truthfully, I don't think she wanted one because she was raised to stay by a person like that, regardless of what, no matter what, or whatever you want to call it. That's not masculine energy. Masculine energy does not hurt innocent people. Masculine energy protects. It is a protector and a guardian. And we have to stop being bamboozled by this antichrist energy. Effeminate energy is antichrist energy. And that is why so many of these men now are such a turnoff for me. They are a turnoff. I don't want their friendship. I don't want anything to do with them because they are antichrist energy. And I'm not being biblical. Antichrist energy is any type of energy that is a mutation that gets you to take the focus off of your own spiritual path and self needs and makes you focus on them. Antichrist energy has many different layers to it. It's a very negative, low vibrating energy. And it inhibits spiritual growth. And a lot of these men, like the one in this movie, he's antichrist. That's antichrist. But anyway, I just wanted to come through and give tributes to the icons that I admired as I was coming up. Shelley Duvall, Shannen Doherty, especially Shelley Duvall and Shannen Doherty. I really admired their work. Shelley Duvall was victimized by the Antichrist establishment in Hollywood. Let's really talk about it. Luckily, she was able to find a friend later on in life that really loved her, you know? Shannen Doherty the same way, victimized by the Antichrist institution in Hollywood. I mean, it's as simple as that. These are women who were also victimized by effeminate antichrist energy. Shelley Duvall tells you why she really left Hollywood, how they abused her. It's not easy for white women either, like people think. Anyway, this is the occult view, and that's all I have to say. Let me finish watching this movie, this Tyler Perry movie, child. All right.